to this tumor that was on the top of my head. I was very happy, and so those were the kind of reports that I was giving to Brother Arnold and saying, you know, I'm getting good hospital. I'm getting the best doctors in the world. And I remember him calling me and he said, Rev, he said, I'm really glad that you're getting good hospitals and getting good doctors. He said, but you don't understand. I don't want you to need a doctor. I don't want you to need a hospital. He said, I'm praying. He said, I was in London and I prayed for blind people and God instantly opened their eyes. He said, I've had miracles of praying for deaf people in recent months. And God has instantly, miraculously opened their ears to give them hearing. He said, I am praying the same prayer for you. He said, and nothing's happening. He said, I don't understand. I was feeling bad. I thought, I've got to get well. This is really affecting people. I mean, I don't want Brother Arnold to get discouraged because of me. But I could tell there was an urgency. And when he would call, and sometimes I would call him, because I had a phone that never rang. It just told me I had missed calls, so I would call back. And he was either coming from prayer for me or going to prayer for me almost every time I spoke with him. So after a week or two, he called me one day. He said, Rev, he said, I think I might know a little of what's going on. He said, I think I might finally have some understanding. And he began to tell me and he reminded me that he is a great lover of old cars. His hobby, one of his hobbies is that he takes old classic cars and has them fixed up and turns them into showpieces. And he loves going to auto shows. One of the biggest in the whole entire world is in Miami, Florida, and Brother Arnold makes it an annual event on his calendar to go to this exceptionally large auto show. And there you'll see every kind of car that is imaginable. Guys, I know I can say something about a Ford or a Mercedes, and my wife doesn't know what I'm talking about. It means nothing. I say, Barbara, look at that Maybach. And she's like, I'm like, that's a $500,000 car. It's a car. But for you guys, you have some understanding, and some of you ladies have an appreciation for nice wheels. And so Brother Arnold goes to this car show. And this year he went, as was his custom. And in addition to all the classic cars, and you could just go for acres and you see every kind of classic car, new cars, the expensive cars, the muscle cars, sports cars, every kind of car imaginable is there. But in addition to the cars, they have a huge booth area in the show that is set up for advertising various companies that are involved in auto restoration. So in addition to looking at the cars, if you have a certain car, if you have a 57 Chevy and you need to have a certain part, then you can go to the section where they specialize in parts for 57 Chevys. Brother Arnold said that some of them are so specialized that they may be as specific as all they do is make the chrome door handles for a 63 T-Bird. And so you walk up to them, you restoring a 63 Model 4 T-Bird, and you need chrome door handles. Those are the people that make them and that you can buy them from. So while walking through this maze of restorers, Jesus starts talking to Brother Arnold. Do you know that God likes to talk to you. There's nothing wrong with having a hobby and doing something that makes you relax, because God likes to talk to you when you're relaxed. He likes to talk to you. There's some things I heard Brother Mark Morgan, he was talking about. He says, why doesn't God ever give me a message when I'm praying? Specifically. He says, it's when I'm walking through the mall and I'm just, and I sit down and I have a cup of coffee and I don't have an ink pen and I don't have a piece of paper. He says, and I'm telling my wife, quick, get me a pen, get me paper. Because he said, when God talks, you only have just a few minutes. Some of you know what I'm talking about. So Brother Arnold is enjoying the auto show, and so God comes and Jesus comes along beside Brother Arnold. He says, Jeffrey. God likes talking to people by their first name. He does. When God would tell me conversations he had with Brother Cole, he didn't call him Brother Cole. He calls him Billy. You ever think about it? When God comes to you, does he call you Brother Lee? Well, Brother Lee, I'd like to talk to you for a moment. So he says, Jeffrey, you know that I am the original restoration expert, don't you? He said it all started in Genesis when I started restoring order out of all the chaos. And it will continue and it will end in the book of Revelation when I make all things new. He said, Jeffrey, however, he said, my people have a problem. He said, you want to know what the problem is? And Brother Arnold said, I'm always interested in knowing about people's problems. And God said, Jeffrey, the problem with my people is they want relief and not restoration. Let's define the terms right quick. Relief, the alleviation of pain, discomfort, or distress. That's relief. The alleviation of pain, discomfort, distress, anything that makes me tense, anything that makes me unhappy, anything that is bothersome to me, I want relief. Restoration is a noun. It means the action of returning something to a former owner. Place, a former place, returning to a former place, or returning to a former condition. It is the process of repairing or renovating a building, a work of art, a vehicle, etc., so as to restore it to its original condition. The altar paintings seem in need of restoration, is a sentence of that meaning. Then there's a second meaning for the word restoration. It means the return of a hereditary monarch to a throne, a head of state to government, or a regime to power. Some of you, you're so clever, you know where I'm going. You see, the relief we want is immediate, and we're willing to medicate ourselves to get it. We want out of pain. We want out of it now. We want out of trouble, and we want out of it now. Never mind, it took us 3 years to get into the trouble. We want out in 3 minutes. We want every problem answered with a solution yesterday. If I ask you, when do you want relief? I want it now. In fact, it's too late. Now is not soon enough. We want a process. We do not want a process or a procedure. Just get me out of my discomfort now. We are looking for relief, but God